first house say, do it out, get it out. The moon says, watch out for security. Aries in the first house says, do what you please. The hell with it, whatever's in the way, just run a sword through it. The moon says, don't do that, you might get hurt, you might hurt somebody.
The only thought that came to mind, and which was what I was fighting was selfishness, and I don't know why. I guess it was because I want to do what I want to do, and with that moon and others and feeling, it's that somebody's feelings are going to get hurt, or my feelings are going to get hurt with that cardinal dilemma.
Mm-hmm. So the person has got to work that out, and they might be so concerned with their own needs that they forget about someone else. Mm-hmm. Or they might be so concerned not to hurt others that they forget about themselves.
Selfishness.
Could go either way. You can't assume that it would go one way or the other. Both are possible. Although this is 2 counts for letter 1 and 1 for letter 4, so it's more likely to go, I'm going to do what I want to do. But you can't be sure. And since there is a need for personal security, and it does depend on how the rest of the chart falls, of course, something else in the chart might tip it more towards the moon sign and less towards the Aries. And there might be a person who says, if I do what I want, I'm liable to get hurt, so I won't do it. And they could hold it back. And part of the nature could be, I just want to be free to be myself, and part of the nature could say, I'm naturally a mother. I have to have children. It's very common with moon in Aries to have a single child, like the Aries unique one, no other. Or if there are more children, for there to be one of the group who is particularly a key to the person's own identity, particularly close to the individual. One child, you can get that with the sun in the first house, and the sun in Aries also, or Mars in Leo, get the same principle, possibility of a single child, or a child that's so much like you or so close to you, it's almost like your own identity, and is a role model for you. And the other person who's connected to letter 1 becomes a role model, playing out a part of you and reflecting it back to you, so you can learn to see yourself through that other person.
Would that be 5th house also?
Yes.
Aries in the 5th?
Yes, Aries in the 5th, the same principle, and Aries in the 4th. 4th and 5th, both concerned with home and family. Remember, the 5th is your ability to procreate, and the letter 4 is your ability to take care of them after you get them. So they're both parental. So you get Aries in either place. Sometimes there will be only one child, or there will be one of the children who is particularly a role model for the individual.
My daughter has Aries on the 5th, and she has one child. That child is her replica.
Mm-hmm.
Would that also possibly be an identification with the mother figure?
Yes, in the 4th house, or the moon in Aries, it's the mother figure identification too. Mother is a major key to our identity, positive or negative. Remember, role models, if they're positive, we want to be like them. If they're negative, we want to be the opposite. And sometimes we want some of both.
Mother could be a model for how to handle your Martin energies also.
Uh-huh. Yes. I would assume from that the mother has a freedom-closeness dilemma, that she herself is ambivalent about being a mother and giving up her own identity and own independence. And if she works it out successfully, then the child who has this combination gets a good example. If the mother doesn't work it out, then the child gets an example of what not to do. If the mother, for instance, sacrifices herself to her mother role, or sacrifices the child to be free to do what she pleases, then does not integrate the 2 principles, then the child gets an example of what not to do.
Interesting. I'm having trouble with that. This is the moon in Aries, right?
Right.
Sacrificing himself for anybody. Oh, unless you're looking at it as a square.
You're assuming that the sign is more important than the planet. The planet is always the most important.
Oh, okay.
And it's perfectly possible for the moon to sacrifice for the children, for the family. They may resent it.
Oh.
They may be frustrated by it. They may get sick.
It's kind of perverted, the moon in Aries, though. Maybe you do that kind of sacrifice.
What's
no?
perversion? It's a failure to integrate either way.
I mean, integrating both the moon and Aries.
To integrate, they have to both make room for their own right to be themselves and natural conflict there that has to be integrated. Remember, the two ways to integrate are to take turns with these different parts of ourselves, or to stay in the middle in a compromised position. A little bit of freedom and a little bit of emotional closeness,
Yeah,
but not too much of either one.
you can become tyrannical too. But it has to be done my way. It's
That
not
would be
ours.
overdoing the Aries.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But that's not an integration. An integration
No.
is working out harmony between the two principles. So this is a conflict combination when you get a natural square. Squares, I think, are harder than opposition. We will talk more about aspects tomorrow.
No, it's just interesting to me to do it already. I mean, I was thinking Moon and Aries is a whole thing, I mean, it's a certain way. This is like taking the Moon, Aries, the first house.
That's right.
A whole other way of thinking.
So we got 2 points for letter 1 and 1 for letter 4. But the planet is very powerful because the planet is the primary statement first and foremost. So you may find a person who is very Aries, but you also may find a person who comes across like a Cancer and has all the Aries blocked by their need to be dependent or nurturant.
So if you have the Moon in a non-nurturing sign, you already got a conflict,
That's right.
no matter what the sign is.
That's right. You've got
Okay.
something that needs to be integrated.
Deb, would they be, if you've got Moon in Capricorn, you've already got a built-in opposition?
Yes, that's right. And in Sagittarius and in Aquarius, a built-in quincunx.
Oh.
Before you even start, right?
Before you start aspects,
Right.
you got a headache.
You've got it already with a planet sign house put together. You've already got implicit aspects.
Jesus God. This is worse than my living before.
But remember, if you know what the challenge is, you have a chance of solving it and integrating it and making peace between those parts of yourself.
I'm just saying you see it a lot faster this way.
That's right.
We sure do.
That's the
Another way.
whole idea, is to be clear about the 12 principles and then put them together logically.
God.
You're getting it.
Yeah, no, it suddenly hit me with that, with Moon in Capricorn would be an automatic opposition. You
Right.
don't even have to look for one, it's right there.
There, they got it.
But repeating makes it
Oh,
And
sure.
the more times it's said in the
Terrific.
chart, the more emphatic. And none of these by themselves are good or bad. It's what we do with them.
No, it just seems stronger
But it's
than I
more of a
understood
challenge.
before, yeah.
It's more of a challenge.